So the question states you got to find all the coordinates on a Cartesian plane that start with a 2. In other words, the x coordinate part is a 2, and the distance from a specific point, in this case it's -2 comma -1, is exactly 5 units. Because what we're going to do is we're going to apply the distance formula down here. I would draw a picture to see if I can figure out what's going on here mathematically. So we're going to start with the point. So there's the point, -2, -1. So we're going to find all the points, all the coordinates on this graph that start with the x value of equal to 2. So let's kind of draw a picture. So here this red line is exactly 5 units. And forgive the poorly drawn circle, but every point on that red line, if this was a true circle, is also exactly 5 units away from -2 comma -1. But this is the x equals 2 line. So we're only talking about 2 points here. Right? So the distance of this radius is also 5. So they're going to look something like that. And just by eyeballing it, which we should never do, but it looks like one of the points is 2 comma 2, and the other one is 2 comma -4. Now, we're going to go ahead and calculate this using algebra just to make sure, okay? Okay, so we're going to pretend we don't know what the y values are, and we're just simply going to rename it y. I don't want to go into a long explanation of here, but we're just going to simply use y for both of them, even though we know they're different, because this is going to become a squared problem. So we're going to have 2 different values for y. So, all right. So back to the formula. There it is. Distance formula equals the square root of the difference of the x's squared and the difference of the y squared. You add those up, take square root. So we have to identify our points. One point we already have, right? That's the -2 comma -1. The other point, we just make it up. We're just going to let that second y value just be a variable called y. But we're going to go ahead and plug that into the formula. Okay? So x1 minus x2 is -2 minus 2. y1 minus y2 is -1 minus y. Let's get some working room here. So we're going to do a little bit of algebra on this first part. We got -4 squared. That turns into 16. So now we got to figure out what the square of -1 minus y is. And we can just write it out as, you know, a pair of binomials being multiplied, and go ahead and multiply those out. And that's what you get. Add like terms. So I'm going to go ahead and substitute that for the other value. And the rest of this is simply just algebra calculations. Boom, I added the 1 and a 16. Going to get some working room here. You got a problem. How do you undo a square root, a radical? You square both sides. Okay, so I'm going to square both sides. So d squared equals that mess. And we know what d is. The distance has to be 5. That was part of the problem. So we're going to square 5. We get 25 equals that mess. Again, get some more working room. And then algebra, I'm going to subtract 25 from both sides. I like my equations on the left side of the equal sign. It doesn't make any difference, right? So now hopefully this thing will factor nicely. And yes, it does. So y, the first term is y squared. Last term is -8. Middle term is +4y minus 2y is positive. That's right. Yay. So to make this a true statement, y has to equal either -4 or +2. And those are the back ends of your answers, right? So the x coordinate has to be 2. That was part of the problem. So these 2 points are exactly 5 units away from -2 comma -1. And they both have an x coordinate of 2. Okay, and that basically did agree with our picture, but again, we shouldn't go there. But that's it. MGZ, out.